So here we go. This problem has quite a bit to it. Let's go ahead and label things. So, oops. Our A value is a -2, and we're going to combine that. Whereas before we were just looking at the positive value because they were only positive. Now we're looking at the negatives, which just means we're going to multiply our y values by -2. So that's where it's going to get applied in. Your amplitude is what's the absolute value of A, and that's how you get an amplitude of 2. So it will still be 2 units from the midpoint in both directions. Your B is 2/3, which means that the period is 2 pi over 2/3. And then multiply by 3/2. That gives us 3 pi. And then we have an H value, a phase shift of pi over 2 units. It's positive, and so it's going to be to the right. You don't need to write that. You just need to write pi over 2. So let's go ahead and take the regular graph of 0 to 2 pi. I'm sorry if you hear frozen in the background. It's just my life. So we take this, and then this is the original sine graph, or the sine table, 0, 1, 0, -1, and 0. We're going to use that to go ahead and make our transformation table. So the first thing we're going to look at, our starting value is H. So in prior problems it has been 0 because there's been no shift, but this one has a shift of pi over 2. And then my fifth point is found by H plus my period, which my period is 3 pi. So I need to add 3 pi to pi over 2, which means in order to add them, I need to have it written as 6 pi over 2. So this is a 7 pi over 2. Cutting it directly in half, what's between 1 and 7 is 4 pi over 2. Then in the middle of that, between pi and 4 pi over 2, sorry, pi over 2 and 4 pi over 2, which is just 2 pi. That's not an even piece, so we're going to need to cut it up into fourths and take a peek at it in fourths. This is kind of definitely as hard as you'll see them to be. So let's see. Changing it into fourths. This is 2 pi over 4. And this is 8 pi over 4. So what's directly in the middle of 2 pi over 4 and 8 pi over 4? That's a 5 pi over 4. It's 3 away from 2 and 3 away from 8, which means that we're looking at 14 pi over 4 down here as our fifth one. These are equivalent, you guys. I'm just changing the fractions into smaller pieces so I can cut them up evenly. And between 8 and 14 is 11 pi over 4. And those are going to be my 5x points. So that was definitely the most challenging. But now we're just going to get to the y, which the y value is going to be multiplied by our a, which is -2. This is where the reflection comes in. So that means everything's just going to be multiplied by -2. My zeros all stay 0. 1 becomes -2, and -1 becomes a +2. And those are my 5 points for my graph. I'm going to go ahead and graph it. Now, the important thing about this is that you guys make sure that you don't skip things when you go to graph it. So pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, 4 pi over 2, let's see, 2 pi over 2, 4 pi over 2, and then 6 pi over 2, and looks like we're ending at 7 pi over 2, so I need to go a little bit past. So I'm just extend this a little bit more, and, we'll estimate that to be 7 pi over 2. So hopefully you're following along with this, pi over 2. So looking at our points, we're going to start off at pi over 2, 0. And then I should just make this 2 and that -2. It's easy enough that way. And then at 5 pi over 4. 5 pi over 4 is bigger than pi but smaller than 1.5. So it's this marking right here. Then I'm back at 0. And then at 11 pi over 4, which is this, I'm at +2 and then back at 0. So you can see that I didn't start at 0 in an x value, and I started that shift over. And that's my graph for it. It's definitely the most difficult, so go back, watch it again if you need. But take it one piece at a time.